Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, how are my snipers doing today? I hope you guys are doing fantastic. Listen, today we do have very nice news, that is most likely coming out. I mean, it is coming out, but look, overall, right, we do have FOMC. When you do see this, it will be just before FOMC pops. Now, look, the rates are most likely going to be the same. It is predicted at 97%. It is going to be the same. That is not like wow for us, but it's actually not bad at all. It's like good. The thing is, if the rates stay the same or they get cut, it's fantastic, right? Obviously, if they get cut, it's fantastic for us. If they stay the same, it's still very solid. It's actually pretty good. If they go up, then that's not looking so good for us. Definitely some type of sell-offs. Now, still doesn't mean that there can't be sell-offs, right? Still doesn't mean there can't be sell-offs for Turbo. Still doesn't mean there can't be sell-offs for Bitcoin, right? Just because, sometimes good positive news doesn't mean something short-term can't be getting, dumped, right? It's market manipulation all the time. Bad news comes out, usually dump. Good news comes out, sometimes pump, sometimes dump. I mean, that's just how the markets are, right? Sometimes you can kind of predict with the way the manipulation is beforehand, where are we at with the structure and etc. But sometimes it's literally just a 50-50 with how the news is going to go. We could see something like gold has been going down a lot, and yeah, we can see, this has been going down a lot. There's been some news surrounding tariffs and in America and China, the good old fashioned stuff, right? We can literally see when the market opened, this thing already has dumped a large amount, like over 50 bucks. Bitcoin has shot up, ever since around the same time, going from under like roughly just say 94.5K upwards of 98K. So crazy times. The markets are moving left and right. And with FOMC coming out, don't be surprised if, let's say, gold shoots up or down 30 bucks in like 2 minutes, and then Bitcoin goes down like $3,000 and then pumps $5,000 or vice versa, right? I'd be really surprised if I do not see any big type of manipulation, because the reality is the markets are super manipulated. But look, overall, if we do get 4.50%, it is still bullish news. If we do get 4.25% in the rare chance, then it is super bullish. Even if, yes, you do see things go down for that hour, for that day, or whatever, or even for the rest of the week, just know it is still super bullish. It is just manipulation. And historically, right, when I have looked across the data, right, sometimes there will be super bullish news, but for the rest of the week, it'll be a sell-off. But then next week, it just goes straight up, right? Like, that's just how the markets work, ladies and gentlemen. Sometimes 1+1 does not equal 2 in these markets, but that's okay, right? That is just the name of the game. With that being said, right, let's look at some altcoins, right? Because I did have some zones drawn up that I was looking at, like, for example, like Render, right? Render. Yes, there is a big zone here, but the thing is, I've been expecting Bitcoin to at least sweep the daily candle of 91,000, like 600 or whatever it is, right? And that would be a decent percentage in a drop, which means something like Render dropping 16%, or even let's just say, like 12 to 16% is not that crazy, because altcoins drop way more than something like Bitcoin, all right? They really do, especially that the weekly candle looks absolutely terrible. So some type of pullback, especially if Bitcoin swept, to continue going up is not that crazy to say. However, historically, just looking at something like Render, for example, right, we can see that sometimes, yes, there's actually a very crappy weekly candle, and then the next 2 weeks or a week after that, it just kind of pumps and skyrockets. So, that's just how the markets are sometimes, right? We can see the context was definitely different here, but when we had a very weak green candle over here, the next week it literally went from 670 all the way to 445, right? It was, or 450. Yeah, 445, 450. So, just crazy time sometimes with the market. But overall, ladies and gentlemen, right? Like, if you're asking me if it's time to buy, It's been time to buy the last few weeks. The last few weeks have been the most optimal. Yes, you are still early, right? Render at even like 440, even if it were to drop, let's say whatever, like 50 cents, whatever, right? Look how, just zoom out on the scale, right? We are near the bottoms. We are much closer to the bottoms than we are to the top, right? If we take this to the last relevant bottoms, right? We're not even recovered 23%. We're not even recovered 25%, right? You are still getting rendered at a huge discount of below 78%, roughly like 85% discount from its highs. So yes, you are getting it for cheap, even if on the micro move, let's say tomorrow, or I guess when you guys watch this, technically today or the rest of the week, it goes down another 60 cents. Ultimately, who cares? Because we know where render is going to end up, right? We know render is going to be a big boy this cycle. Same thing with turbo, right? Same thing with turbo. If turbo does not, let's say go back all the way down here, but stays within its relevant range, let's say you buy now, and then let's say it does come back, to 0.0045. It's like, I know I could have got 15% cheaper, whatever. But ultimately, right, if you look at the highs to the last relevant lows, right, you are still buying at roughly, a 68, 69% discount. Very, very nice number indeed. And yeah, we have only recovered, not even like roughly 35, 33%, right? Coming back to its all-time highs. So you got to remember, it's going to come back to its all-time highs, and the markets are going to create new highs. So yes, you are very, very, very still early looking at great prices. Even if we go to another chart, right? The best chart to see how altcoins are doing when it comes to the coins that are outside the top 10. If we even take the last relevant high to the last relevant bottom, I mean, like, once again, ladies and gentlemen, look at the discounts you are getting, right? Look at the discounts you are getting. We are roughly, 80, 82, 83% lower than we were at the peak in the December of 2024, right? So yes, you are really, really early. Yes, prices are still good. If I told you, let's just say something like Caspa, right? You bought for 9 cents, and then whatever, it went to 8 cents for a correction. You got a little upset, whatever. But if I told you Caspa can hit $2 and there's a high probability, and Caspa does, let's just say, hit 150, 170, $2, 220, whatever it is, are you really going to be that upset that you bought it for 9 cents instead of 8 cents? I mean, like, if you're really nitpicky, it's like, oh, we could have got a better ratio. It's like, yeah, technically, but you can't be looking at the markets like that, because we're not perfect, right? We're not perfect, and we never will be. So, overall, ladies and gentlemen, I'm just screaming right now. Obviously, not a financial advisor, but I'm literally screaming at people saying, hey, do not be blind. Do not be Mr. Hindsight in the future saying, oh, wow, yeah, this was actually such a great price. Wow, this was such a great price. And it's like, oh my God, yeah, this retested off this bottom. And yeah, like, oh my God, like, it was about to flip the 11 cents. And like, now we're all the way somewhere up here, and this looks crazy, right? Price going, let's say, to this point, because we're so small. But you got to remember, coins that, like, let's say even something like Caspa that started all the way down here, right? When you said, oh yeah, Caspa is actually going to hit 20 cents while you're at like half a cent, people are like, yeah, right, it's going to come all the way up here. So it's just the same type of mentality, right? It is just literally the same type of mentality. But yeah, that is it, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you guys did enjoy, and I'll talk to you guys next time. Goodbye.